high-stakes gambit for Democrats, carrying on the fight and even discussing impeachment of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
Will we seek truth to set the record straight? Yes. But that does not mean that we will be making a priority of impeachment.
The Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot. We ought to be moving forward. Let's judge Justice Kavanaugh on his performance as a justice of the Supreme Court.
All right, let's bring in George Washington University constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley. Professor, always good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, what do you make of this discussion? Bad advice for the Democrats or good to continue to discuss this impeachment idea?
Well, it's terrible advice. I mean, there has to be some finality in our system, and there also has to be some respect for the institution. If the Democrats want to create this monster, then they have to wonder how they're going to control it. You know, there were allegations that Elena Kagan was not entirely truthful in her testimony, but people didn't call for investigation and her impeachment. At some point, you're doing serious harm to the very foundations of our system, and that's what's happening here. If every confirmation can be redone when a majority shifts, then we're going to lose the stability that the court has had. We've been through terrible things in this country, things that would break a lot of constitutional systems into small pieces. But we've survived in part because of that stability, and not in small part because of the Supreme Court.
Well, and it seems like there's a little bit of split, even maybe within the Democratic Party, because you hear top leaders like former Speaker and hoping to be Speaker again, Nancy Pelosi, say things like, well, it's not a priority, it's not a top thing. But Congressman Nadler, who would be the top member now, the chair of the Judiciary Committee in the House, if they took back the House, said this: it's not something we're eager to do, but the Senate having failed to do its proper constitutionally mandated job of advise and consent, we are going to have to do something to provide a check and balance to protect the rule of law and to protect the legitimacy of one of our most important institutions. You touched on this. There are a lot of people now who think that if you can somehow put this asterisk or taint on now Justice Kavanaugh, it then renders what flows from the court possibly illegitimate as well.
Yeah, what I'm most disappointed in is that it wasn't that long ago when there were real institutionalists, people of integrity in Congress, on both parties who would have denounced this immediately. I was shocked that leading Democrats didn't immediately say, no, this is wrong. This is the bridge we won't cross. But there seems to be a new development where we've given license for people to be enraged, to feel that they no longer have to be fair or empathetic. And people have to wonder, you know, it's a lot like the old saying about Saturn, that revolutions like Saturn devour their young. The Democrats have to be very careful. If they unleash this, they may find that it comes back to haunt them in years to come.
I want to play a little bit of what now Justice Kavanaugh said tonight, knowing that he is going to be open to this criticism about being too partisan or political. Here's what he said.
My goal is to be a great justice for all Americans and for all of America. I will work very hard to achieve that goal. I was not appointed to serve one party or one interest, but to serve one nation.
And I noticed, too, he said, I'm going to be a member of the team. I'll be a team player of 9, and all other 8 justices were there tonight.
Yeah. And look, this is a very close-knit group. They have to be. There's only 9 of them. He's going to cast one of those votes. Look, will his Wikipedia page begin with this controversy? You bet. But it won't end there. He's going to have years of cases, decades. That's called a legacy. So it doesn't really matter in the end. He knows that. He will be largely remembered by the cases that he writes, and he has decades to do it.
And possibly overturning the Chevron deference, not to get too wonky on people, but this real check on administrative agencies and their power to make their own rules.
That's significant. I got to tell you, this docket was made for Kavanaugh. It's a coincidence. But he's starting out in all of the areas where he's likely to really take the court in a different direction from Justice Kennedy. Criminal cases, environmental cases, executive power cases. It just fell that way. But he's really going to leave a legacy early.
All right. Professor Turley, thank you for stopping in.
Thank you.